first, let's go to our big story this afternoon. SACP, the Communist Party leader, Sali Mapila, says that the ANC has failed to treat its alliance partners with respect and equality. Mapila was tabling the political report to the SACP Special National Congress underway at the Birchwood Hotel and Conference Centre in Boksburg. He says the electoral decline of the ANC is worrying, and that the unfortunate part was they never had an opportunity to discuss it with the ANC.
The ANC remains seriously factionalized, with moral and political decay that has been far-reaching. Its future electoral prospects have also become uncertain, with a strong possibility of experiencing a further decline if it does not achieve a turnaround. If it continues, the electoral decline of the ANC could reach a point where it will be unable to form governments in affected levels without seeking coalition partners, and without which it could be dislodged. This reality has already struck in at least one province and a number of municipalities, including some metropolitan municipalities. This was our observation of the previous Congress. The unfortunate part is that we have never had an opportunity to discuss this with the African National Congress. They are not available. When we meet, it's for a few hours. We don't want to join another president who used to say, no, we need more time, 1 week. But when a revolution is faced with such serious threats, and one of your allies makes an analysis of this nature, you certainly should listen and say, what are you basing this on? So we can discuss, find solutions together. We have no intention to weaken the African National Congress. If anything, our task is to strengthen it, not to weaken it. But comrades, this loss of electoral majority highlights two things: a deeply worrying, weakening subjective factor on the one hand, and the objective material conditions of the working class that are getting worse. In other words, we have a weak leadership at a point when the living conditions of the masses have worsened. But this is a task of the entire revolutionary leadership. It's not a blame, but it's to say, when you are a liberation movement occupying political office and exercising political power, you exercise it effectively for the interest of the people. We could not intervene to halt this deepening crisis. We could not make tough decisions and address errors that were committed within the movement, especially with the African National Congress as the epicenter, particularly in control of state apparatus, now influenced strategically even by reactionary forces.
Indeed, John, good day. It is not the first time that they've made this announcement. They made it earlier on, and in 2017 contested by-elections in Metsimaholo. Got 3 of them. They even got the mayoral chain. But as I said in an article I wrote, but it does not seem like there was really many real changes. Secondly, I think that if you listen to the General Secretary of the SACP, it's clear that this decision to contest is not something that is being said strategically and tactically. This is where we are as a country. We think we are now ready to launch a struggle for revolutionary socialism, and therefore we want to go it alone at the local government level. It's a schizophrenic one. That is more like we are angry that the ANC acts without consulting us, that it is not willing to create a forum in which binding decisions are being taken, citing the fact, correctly I think, that the NEC of the ANC must be sovereign and independent, as is the CEC of the SACP, and the CEC of COSATU. Now, and then he says we've got no aim of weakening the ANC, but yet going to contest it.
That was going to be my next question, is how do you stand separately from the ANC and not think you're going to take voters away?
Absolutely. I mean, it's going to be cannibalizing the ANC. Remember, COPE cannibalized the ANC. So did the EFF, even though it got some new young people. MKP also cannibalized it. And I think the SACP is also saying, well, we're going to come in and feed there. So I'm working on the assumption that I'm sure, as the ANC have done before, if they say, well, we hear you guys, we promise to mend our ways, let's go together, let's work for the local government elections, decisive for the ANC. You may find they may say we remain committed to fighting, but maybe we'll postpone it for the next time.
What does this mean, should they go it alone? What does that mean for the members who are part of the GNU government? I see Bladen Zamande coming out quite strongly saying he doesn't agree with the GNU.
Yes, no. I mean, it's in fact, they are going to say to you, no, we campaigned for this ANC. The people that are there, the 40% it got, we also campaigned for it. So we are not saying we're going to contest at national government. We're contesting only at local government. So I'm sure Blade will continue to stay in there. Remember, even in 1996, they would swear at Mbeki, Trevor, everybody else, saying it's a class of 1996. Yet there were more than 7-8 members of the Central Committee of the SACP in that cabinet. So I'm sure they'll be able to separate the two. Blade will argue that, look, I've been given a task, I'm doing that task, and as long as the president wants me to do the task, let me go ahead doing it. And the SACP, like I said, will say, well, we're not really contesting you nationally. It is just at the local government level.
One thing that did jump out at me that Solly Mapaila said there, Mbazima Shilowa, was that there was no opportunity to discuss with the ANC. What was it like when you were General Secretary?
I think that in this instance, the problem is that they were not able to anticipate, because I don't think that is the issue of we did not discuss. Even when I was there, I mean, there would be decisions that would be taken by the ANC. Some of them will be contested. Some of them will be informed in time. But most of the times, because it was long term, we could think about them. I think the problem here is that even as the polls were saying, the ANC will dip below 50%. Even as the results were trickling in, there was no attempt by all three parties to say, guys, it seems that the ship is sinking. Can we meet? Can we look at the options? What options will be there? Can we set up a team that will start sounding off the EFF, MKP, DA, everybody else, because we want to be able to form a government? Once the results were out, the ANC, knowing that there's very little time to form a government, and the first thing is to elect the president, speaker, and deputy speaker, they had to move in very quickly. They may have felt, we want to keep this a tight ship, we're not going to tell anybody, we'll inform everybody once we are done.
Got to leave it there. Mbazima Shilowa, thank you very much. Former Premier of Gauteng and